Hello everybody out there in Hot Rod Land, it's Phil coming to you once again from Carcraft Classics. Today showing off this gorgeous C3 Corvette. Before we get started with that, just want to say, for those of you maybe watching one of my videos for the first time, this is Carcraft Classics. We're located at 321 Canton Road. We're here in Cumming, Georgia, 30040. Phone number for the shop is 470-239-4977. My name is Phil, I'm the owner here, and my cell number is 770-317-1415. We can also be reached via email at carcraftclassics@gmail.com, and be sure to visit us on the web at carcraftclassics.com. If you're into classic cars and neon signs and wheel and tire packages for the classics and things like that, please give us a follow. We're on social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc. And on our YouTube channel, if you're watching this video, I'd really appreciate a little thumbs up down below, and please subscribe to our channel. All right, I got a real treat for everybody today. It's a rare car, and we're just so happy to be able to present it to you. It's not only rare because of the features it was built with in the typical sense of the word, but the story's rare. And again, real proud to bring it to you. She's gorgeous. As you can see, it is a C3 Corvette, Le Mans blue, just gorgeous. I don't even know where to start. All right, this is a documented, verified, one owner C3 Corvette. So collectors out there, this is your chance to own, again, a true one owner C3 Corvette. This is a 1969 model. A lot of changes for the Corvette when they went to the C3 in 1968, but from 68 to 69 there were also another boatload of changes. One of the changes was they started using the Stingray name again. I don't think they used it in 68, and they made it one word, as you can see right there on the fenders. Some of the other changes are, it used to be a handle like the one you see there, plus a button to push with your thumb. Then they went to just the handle and the lock for the key. They also integrated the reverse clear lights in the rear with the tail lights for 69. So anyway, my point is they made a lot of changes for 69, even though they had just rolled out the C3 Corvette the year prior. The Corvette fans spoke and GM listened. But this car, getting back to the fact that it's a one owner, let me share a story with you real quick. A gentleman named Ron contacted me about a year ago and said that he was about 95% ready to part with his beloved C3 Corvette. Well, we spoke probably a half a dozen times since then, and he came down a few weeks back and introduced himself and looked around the shop and deemed us worthy of marketing his car for him. And you know, it was a proud moment for me for sure. But Ron walked into Hughes Chevrolet, which is no longer there, up in the Cartersville area. I have the address over there, I'll share with you in a moment. He walked into the Chevrolet dealership and asked to purchase this car. He was originally turned away because a gentleman had put money down on this car, but they called him back to the dealership days later and said that that gentleman had been drafted to fight in the Vietnam War and that the car was now available. So Ron purchased the car, and then he was soon thereafter asked to join the war, and he did. So he went over and served his country proudly, and Ron, we're real proud of you for that. And when he returned, he had this prize waiting for him in the garage. Ron is the only owner of this car, and as he so articulately pointed out, it's kind of odd to own one car for what, 54 years, to be the same owner. So You know, a lot of things had to happen. He's moved a bunch of times. He's married his sweetheart. They've raised children and grandchildren together, and one of the consistent things was this car in the garage. So you can understand why I'm so proud to have it here. We've got all the documentation to prove that Ron's been the only owner. It's never been registered in anyone else's name. And again, just really a proud moment for our shop. And if there's any collectors out there, or even first time, you know, people getting into the hobby for the first time, what a great car to start off a collection. And why do I say it's such a great car? And why do I say it's rare? First of all, you see the side pipes. They're not on every C3 Corvette. Factory side pipes. Second, look at the heartbeat under the hood, baby. The power plant is a 427 big block 390 horse V8. We've had plenty of Corvettes in here and we love them all, but they've all been small blocks. This is the first big block Corvette that we've had. Another proud moment. You know, this car is really, it's kind of like a spiritual moment for me. I just am in awe of this thing. It's gorgeous and I love it. So everything under the hood is original other than normal maintenance. It's even got the cover for the ignition system. It is a manual steering car. Of course, it's got four-wheel disc brakes, which in '69 were made standard on the Corvette. And it does have power disc brakes, as you can see, the dual master cylinder, which I'm not sure, that looks fairly new. I'm not sure if that's been replaced or it's just been kept clean over the years. But I've been told this car is about 95%, 97% original other than normal maintenance. And it has had one repaint. And we'll get into the details about that in just a moment. But again, power disc brake car, four-wheel disc brake car. The original engine, the original exhaust manifolds. Original radiator. Original radiator overflow tank. Oh, and one thing underneath that air cleaner, it does have a replacement carburetor. And I have the original carburetor sitting over there on the bench. I'll show you here in just a minute. But some numbers guys may want on the intake manifold there. Sorry about the background noise. We're here on a major road. But anyway, there she is. In my opinion, the best big block that Chevy has ever introduced. That 427 is just iconic. And here we have one stuffed into the engine compartment of a little C3 Corvette. Just the epitome of hot rodding back in the day. And '69, commonly referred to as the best year for the C3 Corvette as well. If I may brag a little bit myself. There's that winner's intake stamp there. See that? Winner's intake manifold stamp on there showing that it is original. Some other numbers there in the intake that Corvette purists may want to see. Absolutely love this car. And you're going to hear that a lot through this video. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. All right, let's take a walk over to the bench really quick. Let me show you the documentation that I have. This is our shop here at Carcraft Classics. And it looks like we dropped some things here. Let me grab that. These are important documents. All right. Okay. Got plenty of cool cars in the shop. '69 Mach 1. Some square bodies, some Trans Ams, El Camino, some 4x4s. We got a Mopar. Got a sweet Chevy R10. Got a C10 sitting over here working on. Bill's back there working on it, building it for a customer. But anyway, Hang on for me just a moment. Get this paperwork organized here that flew away. All right, so as I said, there's a replacement carburetor on the car now. I think it came from Mid-America Corvette. I have a little tag that I think came on the replacement carb sitting over there. But there is the original carburetor. So for the purist that wants it, we've got it. And the replacement carb looks exactly like that one. So I believe it is a Corvette part. It wasn't just some random Holley or Edelbrock carburetor that was installed. Okay, this I got from the previous owner, Ron. He had just put this together. It's general information about the '69 Corvette, not necessarily specific to that car, but here's a list of some things that I mentioned a few of them that were changed for '69, including all those additional colors and so on and so forth. So this will come with the car. You know, not some high value ad item, but super cool. Cool to have about the history of the car, and it shows you that a guy like Ron really cared about this car. It wasn't just something sitting out back, you know, with grass growing up around it. This was his baby, and he did his research about the Corvette before he purchased it, and some of that provenance will come with the car, like what you see here. Owner's manual for the '69 Corvette. These are some original dealer forms, you know, delivery forms, checklists, operating instructions for the stereo, things like that, headlamp washer, as you can see, instruction. So all of that, that's another feature that came standard on the car in '69, but all of those forms will come with the car as well. But this is what I know you really want to see, especially for the collectors out there. This is the original, I guess I better cover Ron's name, I don't know, on the internet today, you gotta watch, but Hughes Chevrolet, Rockmart, Georgia is where this car was purchased back in December of '69, as you can see there, for the tall price of $6,149.01. It's amazing how cheap these cars were back in the day. Price we'll be asking will be a touch higher than that. We'll talk about that towards the end of the video, but anyway, it's nice to have this buyer's order. You know, it is an original document that came with the car when he purchased it. It shows all the factory, you know, upgrades or options, including tinted glass, posi rear end, power brakes. I mentioned that before. It's got the 390 horse turbojet 427 V8, and yes, it is a 4-speed. It's got the close ratio transmission, the side-mounted exhaust, tilt telescopic steering. It had the white striped tires when it came from the dealership, but those are long gone now. Let's see, it's got the special wheel covers it came with from the factory, and the front fender louvers, the gills as we call them, the Stingray gills. Now, those special wheel covers aren't my favorite, but man, it is cool to have the originals. And then the next item I want to show you is, a lot of people always ask about the Protecto plate, and we do have that as well. So again, not only a badass, iconic car, but we've got this documentation that really sets it apart from some other original cars. And that will, again, accompany the car when sold. Absolutely love it. All right, now I mentioned to you that the car's undergone one repaint. And again, just to show you how much this car was loved by Ron and his family, they have, in this photo album, outlined the entire paint process from beginning to end. As you can see in these photos, this car was stripped down to the base of the fiberglass and painted correctly. No corners were cut. This wasn't a scuff and shoot paint job. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this car just, it was a more thorough job done. Any problems with the fiberglass were repaired, as you can see. Prep and prime, fiberglass and epoxy sealer. Even each step is laid out for you in the catalog here in the photo album. You can see the car was primered, sanded down, reshot in the factory Le Mans blue color. Absolutely my favorite color. Base coat, clear coat. Not sure if it was original two-stage paint back in '69, but it is now. Door panels were restored, as you can see. Super cool to have this provenance again that comes with the car. All right, stop babbling about that stuff. And let's get back to the vehicle itself. So again, got a 1969 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray Coupe. Big block 427, 390 horse. The 4-speed manual transmission. She is pretty. And that paint job was done, I think Ron said 20 years ago. So it's absolutely amazing that the car has held up this well. But when I went to pick up this car, it was sitting under a cover in his garage in the last bay. You could tell he only took it out on sunny days, but he did drive the car. And now somebody out there is going to be the lucky new owner of this gorgeous original C3 Corvette. Because Ron is tired. I'm sorry, Ron is ready to cut it loose. There's those original wheel covers I mentioned. It's got a set of white letter Goodyear tires, 225/70 R15s. There's those factory side pipes. Actually, you're looking at the covers right now, but it does have factory side pipes. And the paint I would describe as easily a 9, 9.5. I don't see any bubbling. Now, there might be a chip or two. Let's see if this is wax or a chip. Looks like maybe a rock chip right there. So again, the car's been driven, so it might have a chip or two here or there. But I don't see any spots that are in need of repair. And what you have here is just a gorgeous 69 C3 Corvette in Le Mans blue. It looks really, really good. Looks like the original bumpers. Headlights do work. Left one might need a little convincing, but she goes. The wipers do work, so the vacuum system on both those features is fine. Body lines are really, really nice. You can see around the headlights. The body lines on the hood are in nice shape all the way around. What is this? Just dust. Okay. I ask you, is this not the most iconic body style in American muscle car history? This thing is sexy. This thing is gorgeous. Of course, T-tops. I believe all coupes in the C3 era were T-top cars. I'm not 100% sure on that, but this one sure as heck is. All the trim is in excellent shape on the car. Glass is in great shape as well. Had a couple guys already contact me about the car. They wanted to know if it still had the Astro ventilation sticker in the corner of the glass, side glass, and it sure does. Man, this thing is sexy. My son detailed the car, and as he was finishing up, his girlfriend stopped by, Mackenzie, and she's not, well versed in the classic car industry, but she was enamored with this car. She asked me what it was, the year, the make, the model, and we told her, and she said that this car struck her, that it actually appeared like the body lines reminded her of a sexy woman. And she may not be some Corvette purist that knows everything about iconic muscle cars like this one, but that honest opinion of hers, I thought hit right, the nail right on the head. This car is as sexy as an old Mae West photograph. And she's absolutely right. Sexy, sexy, sexy car. So again, paint quality, excellent. Not good, not acceptable, but excellent. It is a metallic color, as I mentioned before. It is a two-stage paint, base coat, clear coat, split bumpers in the back, excellent shape. Our buddy Ron, the owner of this car, is a Georgia Tech graduate. So we're going to leave that sticker on there until the buyer decides whether they want it or not. Sticker in the back window. We're Bulldog fans here at Carcraft Classics, but we respect Georgia Tech as well. And we certainly respect the job Ron did in preserving this beautiful Corvette. No bubbles in the paint, no rust, no problems with the bird cage. Forget about all that. This car is in great shape. There's those gills I mentioned and the Stingray badge. Again, 15-inch wheels, newer Goodyear tires with the wheel covers from the factory. Love that big block hood. Love the scoops in that hood. And of course, it's got the hideaway windshield wipers, which, as I mentioned before, they do work. Vacuum system's working. I'll show you that when we get inside. We did a few little minor repairs when we got the car. It had a little exhaust leak, which Bill, the mechanic here at Carcraft Classics, was nice enough to repair for us. It also had a little slight oil leak in one of the smaller lines back by the firewall, and put a new fitting on that line. No more oil leak. It does have one issue that I'm going to let the buyer decide if they want us to repair, or they can tinker on it themselves. The rear caliper, brake caliper on the passenger side is leaking a bit. So again, not the biggest deal in the world, and a few guys I've spoken to already about the car have mentioned that they'd rather me leave that alone, and that's something they can take care of themselves, which is fine with me. And that is gorgeous. Look at that car. So trim is good, paint is good, bumpers are good, grills underneath are fine, even the chin spoiler's in great shape. Little air deflector down there, in great shape. Again, lines on the doors, lines on the hood, lines on the headlights, everything looking good. Telescopic steering wheel. I forgot all about that. I saw it on the buyer's order. That's kind of cool. So again, that's a 69. Big block 427, 4-speed manual trans. Side pipes. She's a beauty. Original car. Now there'll be some shadows, unfortunately, in the video because we like to do it out in the sunshine so you can see all the details. But we'll be sure to get some shots, still shots, which will be on our website at carcraftclassics.com, of every angle of the interior, the exterior. We'll put it up on the rack, get the undercarriage, the engine bay. There'll be 60, 70 pictures of this car on our website in a day or so, and we'll be sure to do that without all these unforgiving shadows. You can see the interior is in great shape. There are two flaws. There's a small little wear mark if you look over on the driver's seat back there, and there's a small crack right there in the middle console. Other than that, you've got a well-preserved interior. Of course, you can see it's black. Dash does not have cracks in it. I'll show you from outside of the windshield, through the windshield I should say. Middle console's all there. It's not all chewed up or chalky, cracked or anything like that. All the gauges are working. Man, I'm in love with this car. Rockers are in great shape. Door panels, as I showed you before, when they painted the car, they were restored. Heat, no air. It does not have AC. That can be installed, of course. Vintage Air has a SureFit kit. I think it's the 4th gen kit that you can buy for this car. There's that dash. You know, it's not easy to see through the windshield, but it's hard for me to get the camera in there. Let's see if we can try that again. Dash is in great shape. That's not the coolest body style America ever produced. I don't know what is. The original miles on the car are 69,000, ironically, for a 1969 model. And again, this car has never left the state of Georgia. This is a one-owner, Georgia-only car. So some collector or somebody new to the hobby is going to get a super rare car that's going to be near impossible to replicate. Removable back window. Behind the seats in the storage compartments, of course, you have the battery, but in the passenger side compartment, we do have the original jack. You're just going to have to take my word for it, because I am not going to be able to crawl back there and show it to you with one hand on the camera. So just take my word for it. We do have the factory jack. Door panels are in excellent condition. Again, like the paint, not good, not great, but excellent condition. Look at that cockpit. Nothing like sitting in a C3 Corvette with the short rear deck and the long hood line, the fenders that raise up on the outside there. The view from the driver's seat of a Corvette is unparalleled. I don't care what anybody says. Little VIN tag there. Hopefully you can see that. Black buckets, high back buckets. Show you that wear spot on the seat here. Not too bad, but there is a little wear mark there and a crack in the middle console by the emergency brake, which I'm sure you can get a brand new one. But again, we don't want to start pulling parts out of this car because it is original. We're going to leave that up to the buyer to direct us on what they may or may not want us to do. We fixed that little oil leak, and we fixed the exhaust leak because I wanted you to hear the car run properly, and we'd never want it to be leaking oil and take a chance that something will happen to the engine. But let me try to fit my butt in here, fire it up for you. So there's the mileage. You can see it's 69,804, and that is correct, the mileage. The car does come with a clean title. I don't have the title here at the moment, so I'm not sure if the mileage is indicated there, but that is the original mileage. Give you another quick peek at the additional gauges here, the auxiliary gauges, the fuel gauge, everything's working. The temp gauge works, the oil pressure works. The clock is not moving, but I bet it would if we tapped on it or something. It may possibly need to be pulled and cleaned, but also you see your AM/FM stereo system. This thing makes its own music. I wouldn't even turn that radio on. All these little indicators, they do work for the directionals and so on and so forth. As you can see, again, this is a 390 horse V8. It's 460 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 427, and the compression ratio is 10.25 to 1. Awesome that Corvette, puts that, little badge plate there. Again, the tail light, the directional indicators do work. the brake indicator, the license plate indicator, all that stuff works. Just in great shape. There's a little better way to show you that dash pad again. It's in great shape, as I mentioned. Headliner, both where the T-tops come off and then back over by the B pillar. Everything's in good shape. A pillar, sun visors. Sorry it's so close, there's just not a lot of room in here. Navigate this camera. Alright, let's fire this bad boy up. Key buzzer still works. There's all your lights. Seat belts, the door ajar, brake light on the dash even works. This baby's ready to roll. All right. Now for any young guys and gals watching this video, this is what a big block sounded like back in the 60s. Steering wheel, awesome. That is working as well. Wipers are working. Cowl is moving up and down the way it's supposed to. Let's get out and give you guys a walk around while it's running. You know what? Let's turn on the headlights and show you that as well. She's a beauty. Had another Corvette here, another gorgeous C3. It was that war bonnet yellow. It was repainted, fully restored car. It was a little different than this one. But man, that color grew on me. It was beautiful too. But if I had to walk in the dealership and pick one, I think I'd go with the Le Mans blue. Please don't call and tell me it's turquoise. That is not turquoise. That is Le Mans blue, baby. Choke works. Car starts and runs in the cold, no problem. Brakes are fine, other than, you know, again, one of the calipers is leaking, so that's going to need to be repaired before you take this car on any kind of extensive rides. As you can see, the brakes work. Headlights do go up and down. Car's got plenty of rubber underneath it. Those tires are fairly new. Big block 427, 4-speed manual, 4-wheel disc brakes, no power steering. I can't imagine that would be too big a deal to add, but from the factory this car came with no power steering. And the funny thing about power steering is when they came from the factory, not Corvettes in general, just older cars, when they came from the factory, if it's the same factory power steering, and you know, we're in the year 2023, you know, it grows sloppy over the years, you know, so having power steering is great on an old car, but if it's original, it needs to be gone through. You know, it's kind of like the old AC systems. You know, they wear out. They can be sloppy on the road, loose going down the road. The nice thing about manual steering cars is, yeah, they're tough to turn at slow speeds in a parking lot. But once you're moving down the road, they're tight. They don't wander all over the road for the most part. And this one's no exception. It's a very tight car going down the road. Starts, runs, and drives great. Again, other than a leaking brake caliper. I don't mean to keep repeating that, but just want everybody to know up front that's considering purchasing this car, and it does have that one thing that needs to be addressed. She's a beauty. I'll get those headlights off. Again, the car comes with all that paperwork I showed you, as well as a clean Georgia title and a temp tag on the back. All right, let's see. Okay. Alrighty. So, alrighty. This car, the asking price, which is, I'm sure, what everybody's waiting for, is $69,500. $69,500 for this car. We've seen them a little more expensive. We've seen them a little bit cheaper. We think that is more than a fair asking price for this vehicle, considering the provenance, the originality, and just the overall condition of the vehicle. So, give me a holler. Again, my name is Phil. My number is 770-317-1415. Give me a holler if you have any questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive. We'll be glad to help. My number, again, 770-317-1415. And yes, we can help with financing. We use JJ Best Bank, and they can get you approved over the internet or over the phone very quickly. It's no problem. And if there's any repairs, as I mentioned, to the brakes or what have you on this car, any upgrades you want to do, just give me a holler and I'll do what I can. And delivery's available in the lower 48 states. Just let me know where you're at. We'll get you a quote. We'll put this thing right in your driveway. But thank you very, very much for watching the video. I really, really appreciate it. You be safe out there. God bless.